Well, good afternoon. I am Professor David Loertscher from the School of Information at San Jose State University in California. And today I'm delighted to have Casey Grenier with us from Maryland. And Casey, introduce yourself and your school.
Hi, like you said, my name is Casey Grenier. I teach at Beach Elementary School in Calvert County, Maryland. And this is my 6 years as school librarian at Beach Elementary.
Oh. Okay, so today of all the good things that you do in your school, we'd like to zero in on something that you and I have talked about, and that's the love of developing a love of reading across the school. And so why don't you tell us about what you do in that regard?
Sure. So reading at the elementary level can be really intense because the students are learning how to read. We're teaching letters, letter sounds, phonemics, blends, digraphs, all those sorts of things. It's a lot. And so the library is a place where kids can go, where they can just enjoy reading, where they can find the joy in reading what they want to read and discovering what they want to discover. So it's a place where we can learn about authors and illustrators, where we can learn about cars or animals or video games or whatever it is that the students want to learn.
And so they come to you every week. How do you handle all these students coming in?
Yep. So my schedule, I teach at a school that's pre-K to 5th grade. We have about 500 students in the school, and our students come to see me for 45 minutes each week. So we're on a fixed schedule.
Okay. And so what's a typical thing you would do with the class when they come in?
So when they come in, we always kind of have a quick, discussion about what we're going to do that day, why we're learning certain things. We'll usually read a story or a part of a chapter book, or we'll learn something about an informational book. And then we'll try to apply whatever the lesson of that book was to what we're learning that day, whether it's finding out more using our informational databases, or if it was a story about horses, we'll talk about, where you could find the books about real life horses. I'll make those connections so that the kids really feel like they've learned something and they've discovered some new books.
And so then they can check out as many as they want.
Of course, yeah, we have a few limits. We've tried in different years letting kids check out different amounts. And so we try to meet in the middle with a reasonable number that hopefully doesn't get lost.
All right. So how do you promote wide reading across the entire school, in addition to what you're doing in the library space?
Yeah, so I work with our classroom teachers a lot, and they're able to come into the library. We have the fixed schedule of classes, but we also have some open blocks of time where if a teacher is working on something like a research project with their class, they can come in and we'll co-teach a lesson together on the best ways to find books for their project, or to use the databases to assess information, all that sort of thing. There's been times where the little kids teachers will bring them in and we talk about how to choose a good fit book, to make sure a book's not too easy or too hard, and make sure it's interesting to you, all those sorts of things. So we work a lot with the teachers and all the different grade levels and all the different subjects to make sure that the library is working for them. And on top of that, I'm in charge of all the curriculum materials too. So I'm also organizing the books that the teachers use in their lessons. And there's plenty of times, even when I'm teaching 6 classes a day, I'll get a quick email saying, hey, I need a book that's really good at showing sequencing. Can you find me one? And I'm really good at, looking for a collection and finding a great book to help the teachers take their lessons to the next level.
Oh, that's great. So how do you develop a collection that's culturally responsible and serves, your community?
Yeah, so when I first started in the library, it was 6 years ago, and our collection really had a lot of room for improvement. There hadn't been very much weeding going on, and so it was a lot of older books. According to Destiny, everything was pretty much aged. And so I just really wasn't sure where to start and how to make sure my collection was what it should be. And so I came up with a diversity audit, which was pretty much just a spreadsheet that as I was reading through our books, I could keep track of what I was finding. And so I was noting, cultures that I was finding, any disabilities, family structures, socioeconomic level, all sorts of things, and just trying to keep track of what I was looking at. And as I was going through my books, I found that, first of all, the diversity audit will really never end. It's a never ending project. But as I was going, I was finding that my books were overwhelmingly white, male, Protestant, middle class, socioeconomic level. And I even found that I had more books that had solely animal characters than I had books with Black characters, Native Nation characters, or Latino characters put together.
Right.
And so I said, well, this is definitely showing me where I have a lot of needs for improvement. And so I've worked to find books of all sorts of different backgrounds, books that show, kids just living their lives of all different backgrounds, kids with disabilities, kids from non-traditional families, all sorts of different families and people. And just making sure that everybody can find themselves represented in our library. I feel really strongly that kids deserve to have mirrors and windows in the library. So a mirror book would be one where you're seeing yourself or your own family or your own experiences, because I feel like having those mirrors help kids understand that they belong and that there's other people out there just like them. But they also deserve to have windows where they're seeing people that aren't just like them. They come from different backgrounds, different traditions, different socioeconomic levels, different family structures, just so that they can see the whole wide world of people out there.
Yay. And so how do you finance this collection development? Building, current terms.
I have to say, I'm very lucky. My building, or my principal of our building and our county, they fund our library pretty well. Our principal has some discretionary, spending funds that go to our library. And I really appreciate their support, because it takes a lot of money to buy new library books. They're not cheap. And especially when you're talking about really updating a collection. On top of our usual funding that we get each year from the county, we also do 2 book fairs a year through Scholastic. We do one in the fall and one in the spring. And I run it all by myself. Sometimes I have some library assistants or instructional assistants from our building that can help out, and parent volunteers and community members that'll come in and help. And we use that money to buy new books and have especially informational books for our library, because Scholastic has a lot of great informational books.
Oh, that's great. So do you have any evidence that this push for wide reading makes any difference across the school?
Yeah, so I mean, our most popular books, I think, are really our informational books in our library. I mean, we have our animal books, of course, are, always flying off the shelves. Right. But some of our most popular books are the craft books that are teaching kids step-by-steps how to make certain crafts, especially slime. We've got the kids that are really into the cookbooks. Those are some of our most popular books. I was mentioning before, we have one called Bacon Artist, so that is very, very popular. But we also have just books on all different subjects. And what I watch for in our data is seeing what our checkout numbers are and seeing what's getting checked out and what's not, what might need a little more of a push, what I can get out there to the classroom teachers to make sure that they're encouraging their classes to take advantage of. So I have, data that shows the checkout numbers. I have records indicating when the classes come in with their teachers and when the teachers have emailed for help. But really the data that I love is more personal. When I'm getting emails from parents thanking me for having a book that represents their child, or asking for suggestions for books because their kid really loved the book that I suggested in library and they want to get them really hooked on that genre. Or, the kid smiles when they come in and they see a book that they wanted on the shelf. That's what I'm looking for, because I really want kids and families to feel that joy and acceptance and welcoming when they come to our library.
That's wonderful. So if a school really wanted to build in the love of reading across all the curriculum, what steps would they need to take to really get that kind of program working?
Right. I think a lot of times when people think of libraries, they think it's all about the books, but really it's all about the students getting the books that they want. And I think a lot of times libraries are kind of treated like an island kind of by themselves in the school, when really they should be the heart of the school. Every class can come through the library, every student can come through the library. There's something for everybody in there. And I think the more that the whole school is on the right, the same page with that, the more that the students will want to be in the library and want to use that space. The librarians, we just need support. We need the support from our administrators, from our boards of education. We need the funding and we need the time to make sure that we're able to really do our job to help our students and to help the teachers be the best that they can be.
Well, that's a really wise advice for administrators. So as you think of, what's the bottom line to all of this as we think of major advances in literacy in schools?
So I was a classroom teacher before I became a librarian. I taught first grade, second grade, third grade, and fifth grade before moving into the library. So I know we spend a lot of time, we spend hours, days, months, and years really teaching our students how to become fluent readers. But the library is there to teach them why they should become fluent readers.
That is such a great idea. Thank you, Casey, for the wonderful things that you do for young people in your school. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Thank you. I appreciate talking to you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.